Hi, today from the beautiful Malmö in Sweden, and today we'll be talking about longevity. I will give you Peter Diamandis 5 steps to longevity. See you in the next part. Hi, today from Malmö in Sweden, from the Castle Garden Cafe that I deeply recommend to you. Really paradise-like spot, especially in summer. If you want to go for lunch or for breakfast, or maybe on weekends for dinner, this is one of the most picturesque, most lovely places to go here in Malmö. But let's come to the point. Let's come to the main topic, the 5 steps to longevity. These 5 steps are given by Peter Diamandis, who is the founder of Singularity University, the creator and founder of X Prize, and he is one of the guys on the very front of, let's say, science and business in the topic of longevity. And one of the most inspiring guys in the world, a futurist who is also involved in many businesses around that topic. He owns 2 companies in the area of longevity Inc., and another one that is involved in subcellular medicine. What it is, I will explain just in few seconds. So let's come to the 5 steps. If you want to live really, really long, what is the main things you should do? And this is more than just, the usual health advice and so on. It is partly that, but it is much more. The first one is the diet. And in the diet, what Peter says is really all these different diets, they are important, but they have a minor impact on your lifespan. Of course, if you eat crazy stuff, I mean, if you go to, if your main menu is KFC or Burger King or McDonald's, then you're probably doing something wrong. So eat healthy means eat natural foods that without any chemical substances. You generally are what you eat. But the most impactful thing in your diet, the number one most impactful, which Peter Diamandis says is responsible for maybe 80-90% of your success with diet, is sugar. So just one thing in your diet would be to eliminate sugar. Eliminate sugar is the number one factor in your diet. So this is the number one. Number 2 is, of course, sports and exercise. So regular, frequent movement, especially outside in fresh air. So if you work out regularly, if you go jogging regularly, meaning at least 3 times a week, better every day in the morning or in the evening. Just move your body on a regular basis, frequently. It doesn't need to be like heavy workout, but it should be something of cardiovascular training and some part of workout just to build or maintain your muscle mass. This was the number 2. The number 3 is sleep. Sleep 8 hours a day. Some people would say they are made for 7 hours. Some would say they are made maybe for 9 hours. So sleep well, and sleep maybe not a lot. Sleep enough. You need to get enough sleep, and people are made to sleep around 8 hours. There are minor differences, minor variations, as I said. Maybe between 7 hours and 9 hours, 7:30, 8:30. So, and you know, in success strategies, you are supposed to get up early, like at 5:30. What to do? You can have both. You can sleep well and long, or enough, 8 hours, and get up at 5 a.m., for example. You just go to bed at 9 p.m., get up at 5 p.m., and you get 8 hours sleep. And this is what actually billionaires do. And why all these strategies to shorten your sleep and so on, they don't work? Because people are made to sleep 8 hours. This is what Peter Diamandis says. If they were made to sleep less or any other strategy, this would be a winning strategy, and that means in the thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of years of evolution, these people who will sleep less, they would have, of course, an advantage, a major advantage, a competitive advantage over those who didn't, right? I mean, they would be able to work more, maybe to be active longer during the day, to just achieve more, and they would eliminate the others, right? And so apparently there was no winning strategy. Apparently it wasn't advantageous, biologically advantageous for people to sleep less than 8 hours and still maintain all their physiological functions. Because if it had been the case, they would have conquered the world, and everybody, or most of us, would sleep less than these 8 hours. This would be the norm, but it isn't. So biologically, it is a disadvantage, apparently, to sleep less than the norm, than the 8 hours. Okay, this was the number 3. Number 4 is what Peter Diamandis calls avoid dying due to stupid things. And of course, first thing that comes up in mind is, okay, don't, jump from a balcony, from the window. Don't do dangerous things in your life, like base jumping, these kinds of things. This is the first activity. These are the first activities that come up your mind. Don't go over street without watching to the left, to the right, if there is any car approaching, right? These things. But actually what Peter Diamandis means is much more. Not only these things. You should also do your regular health checkups. So Peter Diamandis goes every year for a full body scan, like every possible factor that can be taken from your body, like your blood values, your like CR or MRT, like if there is no tumors in your body. So Peter Diamandis goes to a full body scan every year in order to detect deadly diseases as soon as possible and apply treatment if necessary to them, or maybe through a diet or exercise or whatever, to just repeal these potentially dangerous, potentially deadly diseases. For example, he gets an MRT every year, and of course, like genomics or genetic composition of his body. If there are no, maybe bacteria that are dangerous in his in his body. Maybe there is some blood values that indicate there is something going on that he needs to take care of. And these things, he says, we generate always, like every day, hundreds and thousands of tumors, but our body takes care of them, eliminates them. But once in a while, sometimes our body, our natural mechanisms, they fail to eliminate such a tumor, and it grows and grows and grows, and you need to detect it as soon as possible. Then there is a treatment for that. Then you can take care of that before it gets really dangerous, before it gets fatal. So this is why he does it, and this is what he means by avoiding dying due to stupid things. And last but not least is the number 5, is the mindset. And this is also very important. First of all, do not accept your statistical life expectancy of roughly 80 years, depending on your sex, depending of course on where you live, in which society, but generally around 80 years is the statistical life expectancy. Don't accept that as a fact, as your fate, because there is so much going on in medicine, in genomics, in every possible, also artificial intelligence, and so on, that converge, all these technologies that will converge and prolong the lifespan during the next 10, 20 years, by possibly decades, that there is probably no limit to your life expectancy. And for example, Peter Diamandis says, there is research that sharks live up to 400 years, and there are specific sharks who are alive, whose age are roughly 400 years, 390 years, and so on. They are estimated to have been born in 1600 something. They are estimated to be born in 1600 something. Can you imagine that? And Peter Diamandis says, if sharks can live 400 years, why can't I? It is apparently possible for a living organism, for an animal, to live 400 years. So why do we die with 100? And he says also, biologically, we were made initially to live maybe 30, 40 years, right? Because in ancient times, let's say 10,000 years ago, people became pregnant and replicated and had children as soon as they were fertile, meaning with 12, with 13. And then you were parents, and as soon as your children became fertile and had their children, you maybe were needed to raise their children a little bit in the first years, but then you will become completely obsolete. You will become a burden to the tribe, to the society, because you weren't productive anymore. You weren't, also from the genetics point of view, you couldn't replicate anymore. So you were just a burden, and especially in the times, 10,000 years ago, there were huge deficits of food. People were starving. Agriculture wasn't efficient, and so on and so on. So you were burdened to your tribe because you were just taking away food from the ones who were productive, who could replicate, and you couldn't, right? So biologically, we were made, or in evolution-wise, we were made to live 30, maybe 40 years. And due to the progress in medicine and healthcare and diet, whatever, in science generally, we live 80 years and more. And it is not very seldom that people live 100 years. So they generally doubled, tripled the lifespan, our biologically or our destiny from the evolution. So why not make it 5 times more, 10 times more, right? And so coming back to the mindset. So the mindset is that you don't expect to live just 80 years. You expect to live, let's say, 150 years, maybe 200 years, because you expect the science to make such a huge progress. And in the meantime, your task, your goal is just to stay as healthy as possible, as long as possible, in order to for the science to catch up and to conserve you, so to say, to conserve your health, your fitness, and so on, and to keep it operational, keep you operational as long as possible. So you should be maximizing your lifespan. You should be focusing on maximizing your lifespan, your health, your fitness, and adding decades of healthy years to your life. You should be optimistic about that. You should be careful about your media consumption. Are you somebody who reads obituaries of your friends, old friends maybe, who died? Or do you read books and blogs about longevity and about maybe breakthroughs in medicine, in genomics, and about, all the things that are improving in order for your life to become longer, healthier? What is your community? Are you surrounded by youthful, active people who, let's say, exercise, work out on a regular basis and are optimistic about their lives and have something to do in their lives? Or are you surrounded by old elderly people who are passive, who are bitching around about the situation, about their health? Maybe the main conversation topic is who is more sick, what diseases they have, what chronic ailments they have. What is your community? If you change the community and you focus on staying healthy, on being active, then it is something completely different from being surrounded by people generally waiting for to die or being actually death alive. So these are the 5 things, 5 steps to longevity. But this is, as I said, a longevity in a very traditional sense. And Peter Diamandis is involved in this longevity in the sense of immortality. Through Express Foundation, I will be talking about much more in the future, and I'm a little bit involved in that as well. And I'm really proud about that, about bringing potentially immortality to mankind. But I wonder, what is your opinion? What is your experience? Maybe your thoughts about longevity, about these 5 steps. Maybe you have more factors, more important things that you would like to share here in the comments below. Let's discuss this and give me a thumb up if you like this video, thumb down if you didn't. Subscribe if you haven't. I share this video with your friends, with your loved ones. I talk here a lot about doing great, impossible things in your life and business. I talk here about how the best entrepreneurs in our times think and act, how the self-made billionaires in our times think and act. I talk here a lot about economy, money, about business. So if you like this video, you will like my other videos. I invite you to watch them. That's it for today from Malmö in Sweden. I wish you a fantastic day. Let's do something extraordinary today.